It was November 3rd, 2024, a Sunday night. I remember because the clocks had just fallen back, and I was already dreading the early darkness. I live in a small cabin on the outskirts of Black Hollow, a nowhere town in northern Maine, where the nearest neighbor is a half-mile away and the forest swallows everything else. I was alone, scrolling through Reddit on my phone, trying to unwind after a long shift at the hardware store. The fog outside was thick, pressing against the windows like wet cotton. I didn't think much of it. Fog's common here, but it made the world feel smaller, heavier. Around 10:30 p.m., I stumbled across a post in r/High Strangeness. Lights over Black Hollow me. Anyone else seeing this? It had been posted 20 minutes earlier by u/Maine Wanderer, with 63 upvotes and a dozen comments already. My chest tightened. I'm not one for conspiracy theories. Reddit's full of them, and I usually scroll past. But this was here. My home. The comments described a single light, bright as a planet but moving wrong, darting side to side over the ridge near the old granite quarry. One user swore it hovered for 5 minutes before vanishing. Another said their dog wouldn't stop barking. I stepped onto the porch, phone still in hand, and scanned the sky. The fog made it hard to see much, but the ridge was visible, a dark silhouette about a mile away. At first, nothing. Just the usual stars, faint through the haze. Then I saw it, a pinpoint of light, steady and white, hanging above the tree line. It wasn't a plane. There was no red-green blink, no engine hum. It pulsed faintly, then jerked left, so fast I thought I'd imagined it. My mouth went dry. I told myself it was a drone, maybe some kid messing around, but the way it moved, it didn't feel right. I went back inside to check Reddit again. The thread was blowing up, 200 upvotes now, with new comments. Just saw it from my backyard on Pine Road. It's huge. My radio's picking up static. Anyone else? Pine Road was 3 miles from me. Too close. I grabbed my coat, a flashlight, and my keys. I don't know why I needed to see it up close. Maybe to prove it was nothing. Maybe because I couldn't sit still with that light burning in my mind. The quarry was a 15-minute hike through the woods, an old pit abandoned since the 70s. If the light was there, I'd know. The trail was muddy. The fog, so dense my flashlight beam barely reached 10 feet. The air smelled wrong, like burnt wiring or the aftermath of lightning. My boots crunched on pine needles, the only sound in a forest gone unnaturally quiet. No owls, no wind, just my own breathing. Halfway there, a low hum started, not loud but deep, vibrating in my chest like standing too close to a subwoofer. I stopped, heart pounding. It wasn't mechanical, not like a generator or engine. It felt alive. When I reached the quarry's edge, I killed the flashlight and crouched behind a slab of granite. The hum was stronger now, pulsing in time with my pulse. Below, in the pit, was the light, or what it came from. It wasn't just a glow anymore. It was a shape, maybe 80 feet across, a flattened disc hovering a few feet off the ground. Its surface wasn't metal or glass. It was a matte black that seemed to suck in the light around it, like a hole cut out of reality. The edges shimmered, almost liquid, making it hard to focus on. The hum came from it, steady, unyielding. I tried to record it on my phone, but the screen flickered, then froze. A Reddit notification popped up before it died. Get out of there. It sees you. The username was a string of numbers, no history when I'd checked earlier. My hands shook as I shoved the phone in my pocket. I looked back at the disc. It hadn't moved, but the air felt heavier, like a storm about to break. Then the hum stopped. The silence was worse, sharp, suffocating. The disc tilted slightly, and though it had no features, no windows or lights, I swear it was looking at me. A pressure bloomed in my head, not pain but something else, like a thought that wasn't mine. It wasn't words, not exactly, but a feeling. You are known. My legs gave out, and I hit the ground, gasping. I don't remember deciding to run. Next thing I knew, I was crashing through the woods, branches tearing at my coat, until I stumbled into my cabin and bolted the door. My phone was dead, even though it had 70% battery when I left. I sat against the wall, staring at the windows, waiting for that hum to follow me. It didn't. The next morning, Reddit was offline. Not just the thread, the whole site, down for hours. Tech News said it was a server failure, but I wasn't so sure. I drove into town, hoping to hear something, anything. The diner was quieter than usual. People looked tired, jumpy. My coworker, Jen mentioned her power flickered all night, but no one brought up the lights. When I asked if she'd seen anything strange in the sky, she just shook her head and changed the subject. My boss's truck wouldn't start that morning. It was March 22nd, 2025, a frigid night in rural Nebraska. I'd been living in a small farmhouse outside Broken Bow for 6 months, a temporary move to care for my aging uncle's property while he recovered from surgery. The place was isolated, surrounded by flat fields of corn stubble and a sky so wide it felt like it could swallow you. That night, the wind was still, the air sharp with the smell of frozen earth. I was in the living room, reading a dog-eared copy of Lonesome Dove when the power flickered. The lamp dimmed, then steadied, but the hum of the fridge stopped. I glanced out the window. The yard was dark, no stars visible through a thin layer of clouds. I stepped onto the porch to check the breaker box, my breath clouding in the cold. That's when I saw it. A light, low on the horizon, where the fields meet the old county road. It wasn't a car's headlights. It was too steady, too blue, like a welding torch but softer. It hovered, maybe a quarter-mile away, just above the ground. I figured it was a farmer's drone or a utility crew working late, but something about it felt off. It didn't flicker or sway, and there was no sound. Not even the distant rumble of an engine. I grabbed my uncle's binoculars from the hall closet and went back outside. Through the lenses, the light wasn't just a point anymore. It was a shape, triangular, maybe 50 feet across, with 3 glowing points at its corners. The body was dark, blending into the night, but its edges caught the faint cloud light, sharp and unnatural. It drifted slowly, parallel to the road, then stopped, as if it sensed something. My stomach knotted. I lowered the binoculars, half hoping it would be gone. It wasn't. I don't know why I didn't stay put. Common sense said to lock the door and wait it out, but I needed to know what it was. I pulled on my boots, grabbed a flashlight, and started walking toward the road, keeping to the shadow of the hedgerow. The air felt charged, like before a thunderstorm, with a faint metallic taste. As I got closer, maybe 500 yards away, a low vibration started, not a sound but a feeling, like standing near high-voltage lines. It buzzed in my bones, making my teeth ache. I stopped at the edge of the field, crouching behind a rusted fence post. The triangle was clearer now, hovering over the road, its lights pulsing in unison. It wasn't shiny like metal, it was matte, absorbing the light around it, a void with glowing edges. The vibration grew stronger, and my flashlight flickered, then died, despite fresh batteries. I stuffed it in my pocket, hands trembling. The air seemed to thicken, pressing against my chest. Then the lights on the triangle dimmed, and it rotated, slow and deliberate, until one corner pointed my way. I froze. There were no windows, no markings, but I felt seen. A pressure built in my head, sharp and cold, like an ice pick behind my eyes. It wasn't a voice, but it was close, a sensation that formed into a single, clear idea. You are here. Not a question, not a threat, just a fact. My knees buckled, and I gripped the fence post to keep from falling. The triangle hung there, motionless, for what felt like hours, but was probably seconds. Then its lights flared, bright enough to burn spots into my vision, and it shot upward, gone in a blink. No sound, no wind, just silence. I stumbled back to the house, heart hammering. The power was back on, the fridge humming like nothing had happened. My phone, left on the couch, showed 11:47 p.m. I'd been outside for nearly an hour, though it felt like 20 minutes. I locked every door, checked every window, and sat up until dawn, the book forgotten in my lap. I didn't sleep. The next day, I drove into town for groceries, hoping to hear something, anything, about the light. The diner was busy, but the talk was about a local basketball game and a busted water main. I asked my uncle's friend, Carl, who runs the feed store, if he'd noticed anything strange last night. He just shook his head, said his tractor's battery died for no reason, and left it at that. A woman at the gas station mentioned her radio picking up static around midnight, but she laughed it off. No one said a word about lights or triangles. I haven't seen it again. I don't walk the fields at night anymore, and I keep the porch light on, even when I'm not home. Sometimes, when it's quiet, I feel that vibration again, faint, like a memory in my bones. My flashlight still won't work, and every so often, my phone screen flashes with static, just for a second. I haven't told my uncle or anyone else. They'd say it was stress or a bad dream, but I know what I saw out there on the county road. It wasn't human, and it knew exactly where I was.